The U.S. Adaptive Open is always held the second week in July. And so after my ski accident, that first July, I heard about it. My dad was watching TV and he saw that there was a U.S. Adaptive, and he said, "This is golf for people with disability." And I was like, "What the heck?" And we noticed that there was people using like these golf carts to play golf, and I was like, "What the heck? That's what I could be doing right there." And so I told my dad then, I was like, "That is my goal, to play in that next year." The first one I played in, though, I mean, it was crazy seeing all those people's swings and then hearing their stories while playing with it. It was it was totally different from when I played in high school golf. It was a lot more like talking and just sharing their stories. They were just happy to be out there playing and stuff. And I'm out there still like the mindset of high school golf where like, I'm taking this serious. I'm trying to win this tournament right now. Like, stop talking to me. And I realized pretty quickly that they're all out there just trying to have fun and also compete for sure. But the smiles on their faces is something that you can't buy.
Max Togisala here on the Content Clubhouse podcast, a 3-time champion at the U.S. Adaptive Open in the seeded category. Truly one of the most impressive golfers you'll ever see for a lot of reasons that I'm really looking forward to diving into. But first, Max, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I got to start here. Honestly, it's insane that you are playing better golf right now than I likely ever will. And you're doing so without the use of your legs. It's a story that any of your thousands of fans and followers are no doubt familiar with. But for those who do not know the story of Max Togisala, take us through a little bit of your golf journey growing up, your goals and plans for playing at the next level and maybe beyond, and then ultimately how a terrible accident in 2022 changed your life.
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Max Togisala. For those that do not know me, I'm 22 years old, and I've been playing golf my entire life. My life has been surrounded by golf. I mean, all growing up, my brother played golf and my dad played golf, so I kind of looked up to them. And I played golf regularly during the summers and all throughout the year, playing in junior events and stuff like that. Played all through high school and was on my way to play college golf when unfortunately I was in a skiing accident in 2022 during my senior year. So that put me into a wheelchair, leaving me paralyzed from the waist down completely, not giving me a chance to be able to use my legs again. So we overcame that and we figured out how to golf again, and we kept a smile on our face while we were doing it. So we were having a good time, and that's all that mattered to me. So we got this golf cart that stands me up, and I'm able to play golf again.
It's such a inspiring and just really like incredible story of perseverance and attitude, I think, really, because as you're telling that story, you mentioned smile on your face. I mean, you have a big one on right now, but to dive specifically into golf, because again, your recovery was so much more right than just learning how to play this game again. But golf is clearly important to you. What role did golf play in your recovery? I mean, did you ever think that reasonably playing golf, even close to the level that you did before, did you think that was going to be possible? And how important was it for you to get back out on a golf course?
Oh yeah, I definitely didn't think that I would be able to like play golf to how I am now when I was first in the hospital. But it was definitely a goal of mine to compete again, because that's kind of like the golf aspect that I love about it, is the playing in tournaments and competing in it. And now it's still that, but it's also doing social media to combine the two, which is a fun aspect that I like a lot. So golf has been a huge impact in my life, especially during my recovery time during the hospital, because golf, you're going to have bad shots, and it's kind of like a mental game. So you kind of have to get past those rough holes, those rough shots. And with my recovery, it's just, I had those bad days, and you just got to mentally look at the next, like what's going to happen next, and be able to move on and just find joy in life. And that's kind of what I try to do.
Yeah. specifically while you're, I mean, again, relearning how to move around, how to, I guess, just live in this new reality that you have, right? Like, I imagine for most people, I mean, at least speaking for myself, I think if I was in that situation, golf would be pretty far from my mind, but it's clear that it was important to you to do that, right? It was a big part of your life, and wanting to get back out on the golf course was a huge thing for you. I guess, in what ways did that help you keep going on those hard recovery days when you're struggling? What role did golf play in kind of keeping your head up?
Yeah, I mean, my goal while I was in the hospital was just to play 18 holes with my dad and brother at the time. So that really motivated me while my time in the hospital, and I was back onto the golf course within 6 months of my ski accident. So I just kept that goal in my mind of being able to play golf again with the people that I love, and that was like the big motivator towards it all. Yeah.
There's a great story online that I found about your relationship with your brother and kind of that first interaction in the hospital, where he comes and kind of puts a club in your hand. For those who maybe not be familiar, kind of tell that story for us and what that was like, your first thinking about, man, can I really try to play this game again?
Yeah. My brother Melosi, he brought me all of my clubs, and it was probably like a week after my accident. So I was still in the stage of no hope at the time. And he brought them in and he said, I need everyone to leave the room. And he just sat down with me on the bed and he said, look, we're going to play golf again and we're going to have the time of our lives. So get past this right now, move on from it, and let's go play some golf. And he definitely motivated me to keep going and to keep playing the game that he knows that I love.
Yeah. So thinking about your kind of story, and again, this happened, relatively recently, at a point where, again, you've been playing golf for several years. You're thinking about playing in college. Unlike a lot of other adaptive golfers or athletes, or really just people writ large that are, that are playing or living with some sort of disability, you were not born with this, right? This is something that happened to you and you've since had to try to overcome. From my position of not knowing anything about it, obviously, it would seem to me like that almost might be harder, just because you do remember, like, yeah, this is what my golf swing was, or this is what it was like to just do everyday things that used to be so easy. I'm just curious how you've kind of reconciled that and worked through that. Is that something that you think about? Are there days where you're just like, man, like I can remember what it was like not to have to overcome this? How much harder do you have to work, I guess, to get over those negative thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of all of a perspective thing. Like, that would be the natural perspective to think like, oh, I'm gonna hate it now because I knew what it was like before, and that felt normal. But there was a quote that, like, I can't remember who it was from, but it was kind of be comfortable with being uncomfortable, and that hit me to heart. And that definitely changed my perspective on, like, okay, I know what it was like to swing the club, so let's try to work on it now. It's like I had to restart golf with all the knowledge that I had. So I was grateful for that, and that's kind of all I've looked at, and tried not to reflect on what happened in the past and like how easy the game was before. But now that I look at it, this game it's still tough, and I kind of just moved on, and I'm learning on while I'm going. So it's kind of a fun process, and like I said, it's all perspective on how you see everything.
Yeah. I guess, what were some of the, getting into some of the more nerdy golf stuff? So, like, the golf swing is super complicated for anyone, regardless of, even the most physically fit person in the world. It's an extremely complicated thing to get right. Like, what was that process like of, I guess, were you trying to get back as close to what your feels were before, or did you have to totally reinvent the way that you're playing as a result of being paralyzed from the waist down?
Totally had to reinvent, like, this whole new golf swing. At first, I was trying to basically do what I was doing before, but I knew it wasn't going to happen because I'm obviously not rotating my hips and stuff. So I have like a chicken wing in my swing. So I had to play with what I got and adjust my equipment even. I mean, my clubs, they're different shafts. I mean, I got graphite shafts in them now, and then they're longer so I can get the ball in the air because I don't have the swing speed that I had before. So I had to kind of help myself get that ball into the air. So that definitely helps. So yeah, changing your equipment and kind of just doing swing the swing that you have, honestly.
Yeah. And for, again, folks who may not have seen you play golf on social media or even in person at the US Adaptive Open or other places, kind of you would be in a much better position to explain it. So you're standing, but you're in a very unique kind of cart called a verticat, right? So just for those who wouldn't know any better, myself included, kind of explain how it is that you're able to play golf.
Yeah, so I'm on this golf cart that has 3 wheels, and it has the ability to stand up from a sitting position. And I have a bunch of belts on me, knee belt, so my knees will stay straight. And then basically that's how I'm able to stand up and get into a standing position to swing the club. And it's just all arms. So all the strength comes from your forearms, and you're not able to really rotate as much depending on your disability. Luckily for me, I have a lot of my core. So I'm able to rotate my shoulders a little bit. But some players that play in my golf cart will swing with one arm to get further back on their backswing, and they can rotate with just one arm. And it's quite impressive watching those people play as well.
Yeah. So what were some of the biggest, I guess, moments in your journey going from, again, rock bottom or like I'm ever going to play again as relearning to do literally everything in your life? What are some moments that come to mind where you felt like, you know what, like I'm really making progress here? It can be on or off the golf course, maybe a first time shooting a certain score, or heck, even, I'm blown away by the fact you see the videos. You're really good about posting videos of just like, hey, here's how I get around. Here's how I get in and out of my car. Like, here's how I get around these certain things. Was there something maybe off the course as well that kind of proved to yourself like, oh, wow, I'm really proud of how far I've come here? Yeah.
I would say on the course was probably shooting around under par. It was 67 4 under at one of my home courses, but it was before the first Adaptive Open, so I was playing in this golf cart for less than a year when I shot that round, so I was kind of super pumped about that. And then off the course would be skiing the same run that I had my ski accident a year after my accident. So me and my family and my girlfriend, we all went to my ski location where I had my crash, and I skied the same run to kind of like overcome it, but also it's just a fun moment to reflect back on that whole year of everything that's happened with me and my family. So big accomplishment there for sure.
So take me through that moment, because that's so cool, right? Like the idea of going back to that place. I mean, so many people understandably would have been terrified or if not even scared, just truly have no real desire to do that. Why was it important to you to go back to that same spot and ski that slope?
Honestly, really no specific answer to that one. I just wanted to do it because I wanted to, and it was something I said that I wanted to do when I was in the hospital. I just told my family, I was like, hey, I want to go see that. I want to go ski that same runs. Just, I don't know, maybe it's just so it doesn't hold me back, to just go back to the same place to see the things that I saw that day and kind of be able to get past it. So maybe that's why I did it. I don't know.
And did you feel, I guess, how did it feel compared to, I imagine you spent, days, weeks, if not months thinking about that moment when you get up there? Did it feel like you thought it would, or was it just kind of like, yeah, this is the ski slope that I remember? Like, what was that like?
I was definitely nervous because I didn't have that much preparation into it. I skied like I was learning how to ski probably only 3 to 4 times before I went to like that same run, which was pretty steep at the time. So I was super pumped, but I was also super nervous. And then I remember at the bottom of the run, I was like kind of getting emotional. I was like, wow, this is crazy. I remember like seeing the things that I was seeing when I was like in the sled coming down after the injury happened. And I just remember seeing like the trees above me, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. And it's a pretty surreal moment at that time for sure.
So one of the things I find even more impressive than the progress you've made on the golf course and beyond is your attitude about this whole thing, which is both funny and I think really endearing in a lot of ways. So for those who haven't seen, you have this lighthearted, even self-deprecating humor about your condition. I mean, your Instagram bio, if you look it up, it just says "I can't walk" in all caps. Yeah. Like you make jokes on your videos about like, oh, if I make birdie here, maybe I'll walk again, and like probably not. And then it's just like it's very funny and it's very endearing. But where does that mindset come from? I got to imagine most people would not have that, but it seems so unique to you. Just Where is this kind of humor coming from? Is that just who you've always been?
That's just who I've always been. I mean, growing up, I was kind of trying to make a joke out of everything and just trying to like make like a light out of like things that are dark, So, I mean, me and my brother both are very, very similar in that aspect of we just try to make things fun for sure. So kind of grown up all that.
In a way, I'm sure that's helped you on this recovery process. But like, can you kind of walk through, how that's helped you stay positive? Is there ever a moment where you feel like I don't know. It's just it blows my mind that you can have that amount of humor with it. But how has that helped you stay positive by having that sort of perspective on it, and keeping you from very easily could be depressed about your situation. But the fact that you're able to laugh at it is just crazy.
Yeah. I've definitely like had those low moments of where I felt like pretty bummed out about everything that's happened, but also I try to make things fun, of course, but that was kind of like the main thing when I was in the hospital was during therapy and stuff. When I was learning how to live life again in a wheelchair, I found things enjoyable, and that helped me progress so quickly. And so that's kind of what I've looked at the whole time, is just to find something that's enjoyable, find something that you love, and it's going to be so much easier, so much more enjoyable. And of course, you're going to have bumps in the road. So, yeah.
One of those things that you clearly do enjoy is content creation. And it's something that, if based off your kind of Instagram history, it's something that you really started after your accident. What made you want to start getting into posting golf content?
So at first, I started posting content mainly of like my progress in the hospital. Not even I am a hospital, but my progress of showing people life in a wheelchair and being active. And then golf kind of just was a main passion of mine that I really wanted to post more about, because people in wheelchairs, they did not expect to be able to play golf again. They don't know that there's equipment out there for them to play. So it was kind of to show people in wheelchairs that you can play golf, and then it kind of turned into showing that there's adaptive golf and trying to make that more known. And so yeah, it's a good blessing, and I'm very grateful to be where I'm at right now and to be sharing all that stuff on social media.
And what, I guess, specific other than encouragement, I mean, are you finding a kind of a new purpose in golf social media? Is it, because I know you're also going to school and planning for a professional career, but how has, I guess, the content creation side given you, I suppose, an outlet to direct this energy? I mean, again, you mentioned how important it is to find something you're passionate about. Has golf content proven to be that for you?
It has. It definitely has. I mean, when I was in high school and stuff and playing golf, I never thought about doing the social media stuff like that. And I was a lot more intense back then, and I was very serious in golf, and now the social media has kind of made me think about golf in a different perspective, for sure, like trying to make it fun and trying to make it like for the content, I should say. But that's kind of why I like doing the content stuff and golf related as well.
Do you think, and maybe this is an impossible question to answer, but do you think you would have found yourself getting into golf content creation had your golf career just continued normally, had you not lost the use of your legs?
Probably not. But I mean, I watched a lot of like GM golf back in the day, like growing up. That's what got me into watching YouTube golf was Garrett Clark. So watching a lot of his stuff, and I absolutely loved that he kind of started in college and then he started doing social media. That was kind of like, I thought about doing that, but never got to it, So, but we finally made it on a different path.
It's funny how life works out that way.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about the U.S. Adaptive Open. Again, a relatively new concept, in the history of golf competition, right, within the last few years. So at what point in your recovery and you really wanted to play golf, I guess, how did you first find out about it, and how soon in that process were you like, that's a goal of mine to compete and win this championship? Yeah,
this was a pretty cool story, actually. So the U.S. Adaptive Open is always held July 7th or around that time, the second week in July. And so after my ski accident that first July, I heard about it. My dad was watching TV and he saw that there was a U.S. Adaptive, and he said, this is golf for people with disability. And I was like, what the heck? And we noticed that there was people using like these golf carts to play golf. And I was like, what the heck? That's what I could be doing right there. And so I told my dad then, I was like, that is my goal to playing that next year. And so we found the equipment, and my parents are a blessing in my life, and they got me a golf cart to practice with. And I had about 7 months to practice before, and we made it happen. And the first US Adaptive was I played in the second one, so I was very fortunate to play in that one, and I won for the seeded category, and that was the first time. I shot the lowest round ever in like a wheelchair, which was 72 under par, and that was held at Pinehurst number 6 in North Carolina. Tons of fun course. I mean that was a fun experience, that's for sure.
Yeah. So walk us through a little bit. I mean, when you first show up for this, right? I mean, was that your first competitive round of golf, like since your accident?
That was my second or third event. So I did a few events before that just to kind of get tournament golf like under my feet, So the first one I played in, though, I mean, it was crazy seeing all those people's swings and stuff, and then hearing their stories while playing with it. It was it was totally different from when I played in high school golf. It was a lot more like talking and just sharing their stories and stuff. Like they were just happy to be out there playing and stuff. And I'm out there still like the mindset of high school golf where like I'm taking this serious. I'm trying to win this tournament right now. Like stop talking to me. And I realized pretty quickly that they're all out there just trying to have fun and also compete for sure. But the smiles on their faces is something that you can't buy. So they were all having a good time and at the US Open, and it got me prepared for it. And so we were all out there just having a good time.
I'm so curious to hear more about, again, how that mindset shifted, right? Because you hear stories about, at the top levels of competitive golf. I mean, it is, pretty, I don't want to say cutthroat, but it's like, it's very serious. A lot of guys are not really talking to each other. And again, for you coming from that world where you lived that, you competed. So, how many competitive rounds in an environment where like it's, hey, win, 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 like that's the ultimate goal here. I guess like how long did it take you to realize like, this is a different thing, and like, hey, I'm just happy to be here too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was probably Probably during the time in the U.S. Open, where I was like, wow, this is totally different, and I have to like adjust my mindset for sure to kind of be able to play on this level of new competitive golf. And it's definitely a good change for sure.
Mm-hmm. So what's your process like at one of these, especially as compared to the events you were playing before your accident? I mean, are you still kind of going through the same practice routine and studying the golf course? And like, I don't know, I've just, having never witnessed one firsthand myself, and I imagine most people listening to this haven't either, just kind of what are some of the bigger differences between an adaptive event and the ones you were used to before?
Preparation's definitely different now, especially because I do social media as well. So those first few practice rounds are my social media days, trying to get as much film as I can with like other competitors, and like doing some 1v1s, getting their story out into the world is definitely something I want to do. Like these tournaments, I use them as social media opportunities for sure. Which makes it more fun for me, and I'm a lot more relaxed during my actual rounds. So, I mean, that's why I've been able to play so well this year, is just because I'm a lot more relaxed, and I think that's because of social media, because I don't know. I don't know how to explain it really, but the preparation's definitely a lot different. Where in high school I was a lot more serious with my practice rounds and preparation beforehand. I mean, it's very similar to what it is still, but like with me practicing pretty heavily throughout the week. So, yeah.
And how important is it to you? You mentioned kind of sharing the stories of those that you're playing with. Would you say, honestly, that's almost even more important to you than necessarily playing well? I mean, you still have that competitive spirit, obviously, but I think that's one of the coolest parts about your type of content specifically, is that, yeah, you take a lot of pride in not only what you're doing, but what your playing partners are doing and the challenges that all of you are overcoming. Just would love to hear a little bit more about why that motivates you to tell their stories too. Yeah,
I mean, the first U.S. Adaptive Open, USGA reached out to me and they wanted to share my story, and I thought that was so cool. Like they wanted like us to not just share our golf story, but like our story of who we are today. And so I took that to heart, and I was like, I want to do this more. So I really want to just like do some 1v1s and just like getting them mic'd up to show, like, I want them to like basically show how they play golf. And it's kind of inspiring me and others as well, which is amazing.
Do you think of yourself as someone who like is an inspiring figure to others? Is that something that even like occurs to you?
I try not to think of it like that. I just try to think I'm like a regular guy, just living life in a wheelchair. So people definitely see it as inspiring for sure. But I'm just a normal guy. I work a part-time job at a golf course, and I do social media. So I'm as simple as it gets.
For sure. And I think that's part of what makes it so inspiring, is that you're not setting out to do this really for any other reason than just because you want to, and to be able to shine a light on not only what your recovery process is, but that of others, again, I think is really, really cool. So before I get you out of here, would love just to ask a little bit more about your content, kind of what's coming up next. What are you excited about in golf coming up, in life?
Yep.
What can your fans and followers and those that now know you, what can they look forward to from you?
Yeah, so obviously be posting pretty regularly on the social media. Every tournament I play in this year, I'm going to be doing YouTube videos. So just kind of, you'll see how the week goes for an adaptive player, and also someone in a wheelchair. So that'll be pretty interesting. Playing in the U.S. Open again at Woodmont Country Club in Maryland. That's in July. And then also going to be playing in a G4D event. It's kind of like the European Open for adaptive athletes. So that'll be held in London, which will be freaking sick. So I'm excited for that one. And then, yeah, just like tournaments each month. So it should be a blast.
Yeah. Well, folks should definitely check that out. Follow you at Max_Togisala on all platforms. You're easy to find and unmistakable content. That big smile and that hat flying off because you got all the lettuce coming out from underneath of it. Pretty trademark stuff you got going on there. But really appreciate the time, Max. Best of luck, and looking forward to seeing how the year goes and cheering you on at the U.S. and the International Adaptive Open, man. That'll be sweet.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it'd be sick. Thank you.